The Key to the Bible by Daisy E. Grove. Every great religion has its scriptures, sacred books of great antiquity, believed to have been divinely inspired and held in the greatest veneration, which constitute its canon, or the final authority for its laws, teachings, creeds, and ritual observances. Thus the Hindus have their Vedas, 4 books of sacred hymns, round which has grown up a whole literature of commentary, as the Brahmanas and Upanishads, and on which rests the whole superb philosophy of the Vedanta. Buddhists have the Tripitaka, Parsis the Zendavesta, Muslims the Quran, and Jews and Christians the Bible. A marvellous book, or number of books, the depth and wisdom of which cannot be exhausted, and which as yet is all too little understood. All these Bibles of humanity, as they have been called, have a common birthplace, Asia, and a common aim, that of putting before us the great and sublime truths of our own being, teaching us whence we come and whither we go, the meaning of life, what our work is here on earth, and how we may best prepare ourselves to accomplish it. Truly, the psalmist has declared, "Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." By far the most ancient of these world scriptures are the Vedas. The word means knowledge, from the Sanskrit vid, to know. Turning to another great ancient book, the Zendavesta, attributed to the prophet Zoroaster, we find the word Avesta, again derived from the Sanskrit vid. So from very earliest times, religious teaching has been associated with knowledge. And indeed, religion, to be truly satisfying, must not rest on blind faith alone, or on any teaching of knowledge, experience, and conviction. It should be able to satisfy the demands of the reason, as well as the hunger of the heart. We must strive then to add to faith knowledge, and this added knowledge we may seek in the pages of the Bible. It has been objected often enough that one can prove or disprove anything from the Bible. And if we are content with a literal reading, especially if the dangerous practice be permitted of wresting one passage from its context and presenting it as an isolated, complete statement of truth. Certainly this is so. And it is in part accounts for the numberless divisions and sects of Christendom, every one of which, even the most strange and fantastic, being able to point to some text of Scripture as authority for its own particular creed and practices. Hence the stern refusal of the Roman Church to allow the free reading of the Scriptures by the laity, although that has changed in recent years. But even today, though the Bible is open to all, its true interpretation is hidden save from the few. The reproach of St. Paul is still applicable, that until this day remaineth the same veil untaken away in the reading of the Old Testament. When Moses is read, the veil is upon their heart. For finally, one can only take from any book according to what one is able to bring to it. Suppose you were given a book in some ancient and to you quite unknown language, say Chinese or Hebrew. It might contain the most profound wisdom the world had ever known. But because you were not equipped for the task, you could not receive that revelation. To you, it would be but meaningless script. It is precisely the same with the inner interpretation of the scriptures. If the reason be not illumined, also if the reader possess no knowledge of the very involved and ingenious system of symbolism employed, the real Bible must remain a closed book. Its truths are written large, but those who read according to the letter only will see but the highly coloured script. They will read of marriages and adulteries, of battles, conquests and captivities, of long journeyings and strange adventures. A picture language indeed, telling of spiritual realities, which to the uninstructed, however, are obscured by the very imagery through which they are intended to be conveyed. Yet there is a key and a recognised method of deciphering this language. Not textual examination, historical research, nor any labours of scholarship will turn this key, but the awakened intuition, searching beneath the surface, will discover that truth which the letter veils and yet reveals. It will there read the temporal in terms of the eternal, the particular in terms of the universal, and will thus be able to relate the whole of this revelation to ourselves, who are, in our essential nature, spiritual beings. Origen, one of the most profound thinkers among the early church fathers, declares that as man consists of body, mind, and spirit, so also do the scriptures. He explains that the narrative, taken as literal fact, corresponds to our body, being concerned with the sense life and physical experience, that the moral teaching may be taken from the story, corresponds to our mind, and the mystical and inmost meaning of all corresponds to the spirit and is concerned with the experiences of the soul. The ancients said, "Man, know thyself, and thou wilt know God and the universe." The Bible is a book that teaches us of the self, the indwelling divine life, which in each one of us strives for ever fuller and fairer expression. It teaches us of our origin and destiny, telling the story of the soul's pilgrimage, its coming forth from its divine source, its long process of evolution through the worlds of form, and its final attainment. Thus, the Bible, showing forth this eternal becoming, must be interpreted in terms of the here and now. In fact, the master key to its most profound meaning is this simple process of translation from the past tense into the present, whereby history and myth alike are seen as allegorical presentation of spiritual adventure, to be entered upon by the pilgrim soul as it climbs the difficult way upward and on. We ourselves are the actors in this tremendous drama, and these ancient stories, rightly understood, depict states of consciousness, modes of progression, and phases of spiritual experience common to us all. One of the things which is apt to bewilder the student at first is the discovery that the same truth is declared over and over again in different ways, It is like a fugue, which is a musical form built up on one theme, simple, brief, impressive. A statement complete in itself, but which is worked through and developed in different keys, with varying harmonies and embroideries, presented in combination with other secondary figures, finally ending as it began, with the simple statement of itself. The reader must accustom themselves to this repetition of subject, for the truths the Bible sets forth with such wealth of imagery are few, but of vital importance, and are therefore driven home by every possible means. It teaches us, 1, that God is one and is creative spirit. 2, that in this one life all things subsist. 3, that each one of us is spirit, but up to a certain stage ignorant of our true nature. 4, that human life is the school of experience, wherein we slowly unfold our latent powers and ourselves become divine. 5, that the way of spiritual evolution is by renunciation and sacrifice. Such is the magnificent thought which runs through the whole. Following this thread, we may brush aside, as of relative unimportance, the fact that outwardly the Bible is a collection of many books of different periods, comprising history, law, prophecy, poetry, exhortation. Inwardly, it is one, persisting in one theme and presenting one picture, the chart of the experiences of the soul.